A lot of Save the World endgame players aren't really too happy with the mission reward system that we currently have. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the changes I would like to see in the mission reward system. And yeah, just be giving my feedback on how the mission reward system can be improved. As always, it's your boy Salvaje, creator code Salvaje. With that said, let's get straight into the video. So I think the first thing that Epic needs to do is they need to start being more, I guess you could say, nice when it comes down to the reward system in Fortnite Save the World. Sometimes it feels, specifically on these endgame missions, that they are trying to hold back progression and make progression really slow. And that's something that it's only going to backfire for them. I mean, let's take a look at a game like Anthem, a game that had no progression at all whatsoever and had no loot at all whatsoever. Every time that you would get a brand new weapon, the weapon would have like 2% extra damage, and if you were to do a Grandmaster 3 mission, a weapon with 2% damage wouldn't do shit, right? The point is that Anthem was a game that tried to hold back progression and loot, and yeah, Anthem is a dead game by now. Unless you think otherwise. If you think otherwise, okay, go ahead. I'm not trying to force my beliefs on you. I think Epic just needs to step it up when it comes down to the rewards. You know, there are endgame players out there that they want to be getting your, weapons to legendary perks, right? And they want to get a lot of weapons to legendary perks. I want to get all of my traps to legendary perks. Do you know why none of my traps are full legendary perk? Because it's too much of a grind to get those legendary perk ups. It's too much of a grind to do those 4-time legendary perk up missions when sometimes half of your teammates don't build and you're the one doing all the building. It's kind of just a drag, right? But if they were to increase the rewards, if they were to be less restrictive when it comes down to how much of the rewards we're going to get, I think the game would be more fun, and more hardcore players will actually be more motivated to actually play the game because they know that Epic isn't holding the rewards back. And not only that, the endgame player knows that if he plays for 3 hours, for example, he's going to be able to get one of the weapons to full legendary perks and maybe another weapon with half legendary perks, right? Save the World's always getting new weapons. It's always getting new heroes. You know, we always need materials. We always need those legendary perk ups. So the fact that those specific perk up rewards would increase a little bit, I don't really think it's going to reduce the player base. In fact, it will promote the player base to be able to do those missions more. And I think that's something Epic needs to realize, which is why I put a lot of emphasis on this point of the video. If you complete a 4-time hero or survivor XP mission, you should get training manuals for it, right? So if you complete a Twine Peak 116 4-time mission, you should be getting at least 50 training manuals. And at most, I'm going to say 70 training manuals, because a 116 4-time mission, the husk are going to be like what? Like around 130, 140, somewhere around there. The point is that we need to be able to obtain these training manuals as easy as we're able to obtain all these weapon designs, because training manuals is one of the biggest things that people struggle with, and there's just not really any way to grind training manuals or trap manuals. Maybe we could also get missions that are giving out training manuals, like 4-time training manual missions. I wouldn't really mind that. I think a lot of people would actually like that. Anyways, if you're doing a schematic XP mission, I think you should also get trap manuals from it. Or maybe have a choice between trap manuals or weapon designs. And the reason for that is because, well, let's be honest, right? It's not really hard to get weapon designs because of all of the schematics you're going to be getting from mini bosses. I also think a mini boss in the high levels of Twine Peaks should never, ever give me a purple or a blue schematic. It should always be a legendary schematic no matter what. I'm an endgame player. I don't need that purple or blue weapon, and if I get a legendary schematic, then it's okay. At least I can get a pretty good amount of weapon designs. Mini boss loot is honestly kind of broken. Some mini bosses sometimes give you a really hard time on 4-time missions at the endgame levels of play, and all you get is a blue schematic. You know, I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Sometimes I just throw mini bosses off the map because I just think it's pretty much worth it. They're gonna be giving me shit rewards anyway, so I might as well do it, right? Anyways, at least every single mission that you do needs to have a specific evolution material. And I think this applies for Canny Valley and below, where the grind actually begins. You know, the lack of evolution materials is a problem in Save the World. It's been a problem for a long time. Again, Epic just doesn't want me to play their game as often. They don't want me to be playing their game as much. And the reason for that is because I can't get these evolution materials to level up all of the heroes and all of the weapons that I want to get. I mean, I have 6 million schematic XP, and I can't spend that 6 million schematic XP because I always need to make sure that I have a pretty decent amount of raindrops in my inventory, and that sucks. I want that restriction to be taken away. I want to go ham when it comes down to leveling up heroes and when it comes down to leveling up weapons, right? End game players, hardcore players, new players, right? They want to be leveling up the brand new weapons, the brand new heroes that we're getting every week, but some of us can't do that, right? Because again, there's a huge lack in evolution materials. And as a content creator, I also always need to make sure that I have a good amount of evolution materials just in case a couple of heroes or a couple of weapons come out, which again, basically leads me to not having a lot of power level 130 type stuff. When it comes down to the materials that you get from farming things like trees, rocks, sunbeam, and all that stuff, if you destroy like a sunbeam crystal, you should be getting at least 3 to 7 sunbeam, depending on the power level that you're doing the mission. Let's say that you're doing a power level 140 and you're grinding sunbeam on a power level 140 mission in a private match, you should be getting 7 sunbeam, 5 to 7 sunbeam from those ores, because at the 100 plus missions, you do need those power level 130 weapons. And tier 5 materials is another thing that I want to talk about. They're very, very scarce. They need to increase the amount of tier 5 materials that we get in private missions, and in public missions, they need to decrease it. This basically is going to make it so that if you want to farm tier 5 materials, you're more enticed to do it on a private match instead of a public match. But most importantly, it also makes it so that, let's say that you need, you know, a lot of sunbeam. Let's say that you need oxidized mineral powder, which I desperately need right now. Well, you're not going to have to farm for 7 hours just to get to 1000 oxidized mineral powder, right? Now you're only going to have to farm for maybe an hour or 2 hours so that you have a really good amount of oxidized mineral powder. Tier 5 materials also need to be added to expeditions as well. I also think that 4-time evolution material missions need to be more often. Every other day or so, there should be at least 2 evolution material missions, like 4-time rain or 4-time Eye of the Storm, etc, etc. 4-time reperk missions, they need to be more rewarding. Alright, I never do 4-time reperk missions because I think they're a complete waste of time, and I'd rather do Destroy the Encampment so that I can get reperk faster. You know, at least it feels faster to me when I do it in Destroy the Encampment. So, long story short, if I do a 100 plus level mission, alright, that's giving out 4 times reperk, I should be getting 500 to 1000 reperk. I am an endgame player. If my weapons are not full legendary perked, then that means I am at a disadvantage, right? I don't really understand why the game wants players to be at a disadvantage so badly, and again, why they hold back progress so much when it comes down to the leveling of our weapon. We need to be able to get more reperk, and if we can't get more reperk with these 4-time reperk missions that are a complete scam, then we should be able to buy more reperk from the shop with our gold every single week. Exploding Death Bomb, the new modifier that replaced Exploding Death Burst, needs to be removed, alright? It's just trash. I hate it, okay? At first, I thought I was going to be okay with it, but long story short, it basically leads at the endgame levels of play, your trap tunnels just getting blown up, and it's just really, really annoying. There are way too many modifiers in the game also that are really, really annoying, like slowing pools and acid pools that could use a couple of reworks so that they are more balanced. There needs to be more positive modifiers in the game. Positive modifiers are extremely, extremely rare. We need modifiers like increased sword damage when running a ninja by, I'm going to say 200%. I am aware that we have positive modifiers like increased sword damage, but the buff isn't really as big or as great as it could be for these 100 plus level missions. We need more positive modifiers and modifiers that sort of hold us back, but they're more balanced. And those are some of the changes that I would like to see when it comes down to the upcoming mission reward changes that we're going to be getting later on in Season 10 of Save the World. I think these changes impact the game very positively. I think these changes are actually really, really fair when it comes down to the overall player base and the longevity of the game. And most importantly, it's also going to, you know, it's also just going to promote players to play the game instead of not playing the game, which is honestly what the mission rewarding system sometimes actually promotes, right? Like, you know, due to the lack of specific materials like training manuals, for example, or our tier 5 materials. So if you guys enjoyed the video, drop it a like and let me know in the comment sections below what are some of the changes that you would like to see in Fortnite Save the World when it comes down to the mission reward system. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.